of the game, putting up a pretty solid performance, one might say, 4-0 and 2 on that illaoi. We were looking for him to kind of show up eventually. A lot of us were pointing at the Swain, saying, well, he was always known as a Swain, a Swain player. Since Swain is now a champion that's playable in the LCS, we were expecting him to pull it out, but illaoi's the ticket. That's the one that kind of finally puts him up where we would expect him to be as a dominant top
I
laner.
do not want to see more Maokai from him. I want to see those 6 games of all illaoi, just nonstop, because that was really fun to watch, entertaining, and it caught Echo Fox off guard. They had no idea what to do. We had so many random tentacle kills, which honestly are so much fun to watch. Just watching this champion work and play out team fights and even just the laning phase.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said for the fact that most of these teams probably have very little experience playing against this champion, and we saw it multiple times with late tentacle kills because people aren't paying attention to the marks.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was the best thing to happen to NRG, was to have Echo Fox take the Maokai away early, and finally Quas is like, yes, counterpick it with my illaoi, and you see just how much work he can put in. Even in team situations, not just in lane, like he lands these really unexpected pulls, the vessels finally proc, and then obviously Fox has no idea how to play against this. They kept getting killed. Sometimes they would group up on the vessel, and that killed Keith once, and it's very clear that they don't have a lot of experience with it. I don't think anyone has a lot of experience playing against illaoi in a team setting, so it's really kind of hard to fault Fox.
Right.
But at the same time, you would have liked to have seen a little bit more comfortability against it.
But I think you can, on the flip side of that, we again giving commendations to Quas, you can very much tell that he's put a lot of time in on this champion because he's landing those tentacles as well as the spirit grabs, pretty consistently, which is not easy to do. That takes time and effort. Just more than anything, takes a lot of time invested into the champion to understand that.
That was really curious was the build that he went for. First item, Death Dance. We're like, okay, Death Dance, he wants to dominate the laning phase, into Spirit Visage, into the Sterex gauge. So obviously it's just a really tanky illaoi that's supposed to dish out damage and just regen itself through the damage from the tentacles. And when you combo that with the Karma Shield, it's really annoying to try to get through that illaoi when she also has the Nidalee heals to keep her alive. And we saw just how devastating the team fights are from this champion. I mean, it's just tentacles from all directions.
Yeah. Now let's expand, though, the conversation to the entirety of champion select, because illaoi wasn't the only somewhat strange pick that we saw grabbed up by NRG. We had that vayne behind it, as well as the Ziggs in the mid lane. I mean, it's not like we've never seen those champions played in the LCS, but not for some time, and I don't think anybody would consider them S-tier champions in the meta currently, and yet NRG pulls out a win putting together a composition like that.
I think they benefited from the Echo Fox's lack of familiarity with the illaoi. I think that illaoi can work in other team comps. I don't think you need to make one this weird, where you have like a Ziggs and vayne with it. Like, you could probably substitute a Lucian and an Anivia, or like another wave clear mid in there and be fine. I don't think it has to be this weird. But what works is what works. So if NRG's comfortable with this, then they should probably stick with it.
Yeah, so ultimately, NRG coming up with a victory. At the beginning of the day, you said for the teams that are 0-2, or 0-3, you're looking to see market improvement regardless of the results. Now, they do pick up the victory here against Echo Fox, but did we see what we wanted to from NRG in terms of moving in the right direction?
The final game, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, first game, we still saw the same concerns where they were stalling out, they weren't getting much done, they forced a Baron super hard that easily could have lost them the game as opposed to let them stay in it. But the second game, when they finally got off what was seeming to be their standard comp and picks, we finally saw some improvement. So I think maybe they just need to branch out a little bit more. They've been spamming the Maokai, hasn't been working, and I think maybe it's time to stay away from it for a little bit.
Right, yeah, very much, as you mentioned, like to see him on those bruisers, a little bit more of the playmakers as champ select graphic pops up here. We do get to see what Echo Fox crafted. Much more of a standard team composition in the given meta, but as a final point, what is your guys' assessment of this roster as they do go down 0-2 in this series? Game 1, though, tremendously close.
Well, I thought that for the second game, it was a little bit easy for them to decide what to do, just because obviously the lack of familiarity against illaoi, as well as winning matchups everywhere. Ziggs is the kind of champion that's just going to stall out the game, so it gives Echo Fox very little opportunities, and they're clearly struggling on the sideways, which makes the game really easy as a point of just pushing all 3 lanes and then just grouping up. It's like, hey, we're winning all the lanes, and now they have no idea how to respond to our champion. So that kind of unfamiliarity is something that I'd like for them to a little bit, other teams pick up on it, and we'll see how can NRG actually win when they're against a team that knows what they're trying to do.
Yeah, Quas and the organization will be very happy to have picked up that victory today, get themselves on the board. That's going to do it for the NRG and Fox series over here on NALCS 2. Over on NALCS 1, we got Team Liquid and CLG in Game 3 of their series. CLG up 6-1 in kills, 20-ish minutes into the game with a 3K gold lead. Things seem to be heating up, rather, so we're going to take a live look in on that game and see how it plays out.
They want who he's trying to snipe somebody is Phoenix. Deep as always.
Yeah, that is very well executed by Team Liquid and some questionable execution by CLG. The Ash Arrow was exactly the way Team Liquid needed to engage that, and Piglet was rightfully very patient with his usage because he knew there's so many targets that he really just can't hit. Everyone can avoid it pretty much except for Stixxay, so he fires this in from Froggen, giving little time to react, and bullseyes on a Stixxay. Notice Matt also chained the CC. After then moves forward to try and disrupt them, but he actually ults very late. He should have been ulting to prevent that damage so he could stay under the turret. Then he tries to initiate on the squishies, knowing the tank is around the backside, but it's just not going to work. And Dardoch is able to pick up 2 kills and then very smartly flashes away from Louis' piercing arrow, which could have killed him. And then in essentially a 3v5, I was very surprised to see COG trying to go in to turn this one around. Team Liquid can just back away, and COG doesn't get anything off the turret yet.
Well, TL with great work done there. Actually not quite equalizing the goal just yet, but certainly have control of this particular stage of the game. Baron is the next target, Smithy arrows. Repeller, jack down, Phoenix gonna chase, that should be enough, but Smithy still taking fire, Lolo locks him up, and there's the shutdown.
And it was Baron threat that created that. CLG took such tremendous losses and then extended the fight beyond that point that Xmithy was really scared they were going to be taking Baron. And again, Piglet's Ash Arrow was right off cooldown. That's high accuracy. I mean, he actually got the Darshan kill earlier on in the game, which is that's 3 kills generated just because of Piglet's Ash Arrow.
Of course, Team Liquid making me a liar right as we jump in there. They even up the gold lead with that double kill as well as the mid turret take. But that just makes this game all that much more exciting as the gold's evened up moving into these later stages of the game.
Yeah, I mean, TL has no chill. I mean, what team down like was 0-6 in kills or whatever it was, 1-6,
Yeah.
would like group up and siege mid and then get an effective fight off and start evening the game up? They're a team that's extremely aggressive, and it leads to quick wins and quick losses, which is how this series has gone so far.
Yeah.
Finally, they're clashing head on, and we're actually able to see them keep up with CLG and have a competitive game instead of one team just getting stomped.
That's what I was
off
gonna
the back
say.
of Piglet's arrows, and that's how I'm actually expecting this game to be closed out. They'll either win by the arrows or lose by them.
Yeah, in what was 2 very one-sided games leading up to Game 3, it looks to be very close over there on NALCS 1, so go check it out if you want to see how that series ends. We're hitting B and heading back to base to buy some items, but don't despair. The LCS will be back in lane soon with a match between TSM and Apex. We'll see you soon.